So, as Thomas said, we are going to start some new project on senior dev. Will be some self-storage management system. So we decided to run to discover some new AI tools, how to actually faster set up it and effectively develop in the future. So before the solution, we could talk about the problem. So starting a project from scratch still kind of takes a lot of time. So because of some days for scaffolding, some configuration, type-C setup, environment, and etc. And also the specification usually lives in people's heads. So when you will just ask your AI to build kind of a self-storage booking system without any context, so it will just guess, and usually these guesses won't match your vision. And also it's about inconsistent students. So without a shared coding rule book, you and your AI will drift across sessions. So each conversation, the AI might choose a different pattern. And also there could be some tooling gap. So out of the box, the code or another AI can write code, but it can't talk to your database or browse some apps or push to GitHub or etc. So when you just typing a prompt in any AI, you are the operator, but we are going to go step by step. So you'll be the director of some autonomy agent teams. So I'll start just from main Cloud Code stuff. So Cloud actually has this Cloud MD file. So this is the file where Cloud reads automatically at the start of every session, every time, so without even being asked. So we could think about it like a project constitution, and it tells Cloud what the stack is, what the architecture looks like, what the coding conventions are, some comments which he could run, etc. So in my project, the demo one, we have this kind of file, so where I describe all the tech stacks, the monorepo, how it should look like, some do and don't, some architecture, etc. So he will include this information in each new session. Also, in this file, there will leave some skills. So skills, it's more like a modular, reusable, and instructions that will teach Claude some specific repeatable workflows and some probably domain expertise. And they usually are acting on demand. So in my projects, I just create few demo. One, for example, this is a skill for creating a Next.js component. So when I'm asking, when in the prompt, I'll ask to create some new component. So he will see that, so he scans this description, he will see that I'm creating a new component, and he will use this do and don'ts, like best practices, which I described here, to create this new Next.js component. So the next one is and the most cool one are the agents. So there could be a file that defines how Cloud Code should spin and delegate the task to sub-agents. And when the task is kind of complex, you could do it in parallel. And yeah, so in my project, so it could be for other AIs, it could be just a Cloud agents MD file, where you describe, for example, here I have some security review where I have the front-end dev, the back-end dev, like the back-end developer, his role, what's he do, what's the context, and etc. And for specifically for Claude, you should describe it in the .claude file and the folder under the agent subfolder. So, for example, like this, so there should be this description, what's it's for, when to call it, like in the description, he'll scan it, what tools he could use, what model, and even the color. So in the terminal, there will be the color of the agent. For example, I asked to implement some of the scaffold the portal folder for me to create some register, login, and dashboard folders. So the 3 agents were running, and it's like scaffold all the project structure by my specifications. And also the next one are the hooks. So it's basically the hooks let you to run some shell commands of at least cycle events in the Claude's workflow. So the pre-tool use runs before the Claude uses a tool. So it's kind of great for blocking some dangerous commands. The post-tool use usually runs after a tool completes. So it's good for running tests after some file writes. Notification files when Claude finishes a session. So you could run linter or format code, or you could actually send some notifications to a terminal or Slack channel or whatever you want to describe here. And on stop, it's runs when Claude finishes a big session with the task. So you could run linter, some formatting code, and etc. So in my project, it's basically like here. So there is a script to block some dangerous patterns which I don't want the Claude code to run, to removing files, deleting the databases, pushing force, and etc. So when he'll decide to do that, or even I will ask to do some of this, it will be stopped. For the post tool, so this could be like linter on each file. On each file changes. So sometimes when Claude or other AI works on different files, especially TypeScript files, he changed something, but he doesn't run the linter, and there could be some errors. So after you go back and you ask him to fix the errors, but with this script, he will he will run the linter, check for the errors, fix them, and you will have like one result after the session finished. And for stop, for example, there could be some full check, like running the linters, some tests, and etc. And the most powerful, to my mind, thing is MCPs. So it's model context protocol service. So this is kind of plugins that give Claude or other AI capabilities beyond the code generation. So each MCP is a server that Claude can talk to via some protocol. So, for example, we could connect the Postgres or GitHub, and it could query our tables, get some data, or create pull requests. But for example, in my project, I connected the Figma MCP server. So I have, for example, this kind of, the prototype like this page. And in the project, I run this type of this prompt. So I asked him to use the design from Figma and just put the link just for that prototype. So he fetched it and actually created the result like this. So it should be somewhere here. So it's kind of probably not perfect in some places, but at least it will save me like half of day probably of creating. Maybe not so much, but it was done in like 3 minutes, and I will do it actually for more time. So that's what that's all for Claude if you want to do it by yourself. But there is also some already created by the GitHub community solutions. So, for example, the spec kit, it's a project that defines a standard format for writing like AI-ready specification. So the core is like a simple. If you want the Claude to build the right thing, you have to tell it in what is the right thing is actually. So it's you generating a spec MD file. So it's like your constitution, and for each feature you're generating also some specification. It will be shared with your team, and it's like a spec-driven development. You have specifications and you develop. Another one is my Open Agent, which is also kind of popular. So it's actually a plugin system more. So it gives you a community maintained library of Claude MD files, for example, some hook collections, some workflow presets, etc. So yeah, for example, you could install this Next.js betyr plugin and use it when you need it. Another one is Everything Claude Code. So it's a curated GitHub repository of patterns, actually. The best practice Claude MD templates, hook libraries, / command collections, and etc. Also the MCP configurations, recipes, and also if you don't want to create it for your project by yourself, you could find something interesting in this Everything Claude Code. Get shit done is also, it's like a full project bootstrap agent. So you just run this get shit done init command, and it like wires up a complete production ready scaffold with testing, CI/CD, and this specification to code workflow built in. And the last one we just find its superpowers is basically it's basically a plugin, but when you run it, install it, it like have different workflows. So you could brainstorm with it, then create a plan, then the subject agents develop, then it will run the tests and finish the development. So it's really cool one when you just need to check your idea probably very fast. You just install one plugin, talk with it, brainstorm, and implement the project. So as a key takeaway, so you should specify first and then run the code generation after. So in the Claude, the Claude MD file is your constitution where everything should be stored. So MCPs really unlock you a lot of power because you could connect to some tools. Hooks also you should keep it in mind because they could prevent of some dangerous stuff to do. And there is a lot of libraries, but of course, the using a lot of these tools is not just not recommended because it will just draw down your tokens very fast. So usually you should like be like in the golden middle of this because too much tools is also won't play a good thing with your context window. And of course, if you don't want to get the water, you just from the AI, you just describe what type of water you want. Yeah, that's it for me. Thanks you for the attention.